Hey FlossTube, I'm back even though it's only been a couple of days because I am so stinking proud of myself. I can't stand it because, ta-da! I actually finished the Santa cross stitch into a pillow from one of my best friends, Monica. And Monica, sorry it's 15 years late, but it'll go in the mail this week when I get to the post office. And I thought I'd show y'all a little bit different area of my house, and this is my office slash craft room, where all the magic happens. Not really. It's kind of the junkiest room in our house. But anyway, since I have no idea how to turn around the view while the video is running, we're going to do it this way. There's my husband's beardy, Ernie. Ernie's a bearded dragon. He's actually a lot of fun. And he lives here in the office. And because cats think that lizards are kitty TV, the door's closed, and there's only a couple kitties in here right now. There's Clary up top. Clary's going to be going to a lady in Idaho later this month. And there, down in the dog bed, is Lucky, my little, would ride the short bus if she went to school kitty. She's a little special. She had some issues, but I love her dearly. She's mine. And there's my big messy desk where I spend far too much time playing Farmville. Blah, blah, blah. We keep crickets. Isn't that fun? And then, last but not least, my cross-stitch storage. Most of that is threads and linen and stuff. I'm bad, and the closet is also full of craft stuff. I used to make beaded jewelry, and I still have a metric poop ton of that stuff, and a bunch of other just miscellaneous stuff I should probably get rid of. But, you know, why would I want to do that? Because who knows, maybe 15 years from now I want to use it. Anyway, moving right along. Back to the pillow. I used Vonna's flange pillow tutorial to do this, and I learned some valuable lessons. I'll talk about those in a minute. But one thing I wanted to tell y'all was I grew up during the 60s and 70s on a ranch in South Texas, about 30 miles from the Gulf Coast. And one of the things during that time, you know, if you lived on a ranch or farm, you were expected to help on the farm. And my daddy didn't have any sons, just 3 girls. So all of us did things like, you know, work cattle and build fence and all that other, you know, work in the garden, all that minutia that you do when you grow up in the country and your parents expect you to do what you're told. One of the other things my parents did was send me to a 4-H sewing class when I was, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11. And I actually learned to sew. And then my Aunt Jesselie, my dad's sister, who had 7 children and a very small budget, sewed for all her kids. And she was the most wonderful lady ever. And she taught me kind of how to sew in addition to that. So I made a lot of my own clothes and stuff through high school, and did some hobby sewing when I was in my 20s, made some clothes for nieces and that kind of stuff. And a little bit of crafty stuff, not a whole lot. And then I just kind of, you know, didn't sew for years. And in fact, my sewing machine was stolen. I loaned it to somebody who probably packed it up and moved out of town. And I went for, that was the same sewing machine I'd had since I was a kid. So I went for, I don't know, 6 or 8 years with no sewing machine. And finally I decided that, you know, if your husband rips the seat out of his golf pants, you need to be able to sew them up. So I went to, I don't remember if it was Hancock Fabrics or Walmart or where, but I bought a relatively cheap Genome sewing machine. Let me tell you the problem with this. The problem with this, and it worked fine for, you know, sewing up the seat of my husband's pants. Not much else. When I got ready to make one of those project bags with a zipper in it the other day, I discovered it didn't even come with a zipper foot. And since I bought this, you know, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, they apparently don't make this model anymore. And I have been on an internet search because I live in the middle of nowhere, and trust me, nobody's going to have pieces parts for it here. But I did find a zipper foot. Hopefully it's going to be arriving soon. But anyway, back to the sewing machine, because I watched Vonna's tutorial, and of course she talks about the adjustable speed and everything, you know, or the speed governor on her machine. And oh, I wish I had one, because I sewed too fast and there are no straight seams in my pillow, which kind of is typical for me because I haven't been much on straight lines my entire life, and why start now? But anyway, back to the pillow and what I learned. What I learned was this was a fairly lightweight cotton material, and it pulled very easily. You know, even when it wasn't on the bias, when you were pulling with the grain of the fabric, it had a fair amount of stretch. And I went ahead and used interfacing on the whole front and the whole back instead of just over the stitching to try to stabilize the fabric a little bit. And I think that helped, and it looks like it's got a little bit more body, and I think it's going to work well for that. I think it would have been real floppy, and I think I would have really badly pulled it out of shape when I was sewing on it if I hadn't interfaced it. Let me think. What else? Oh, yeah, the speed. You know, wish I had the speed governor. Now, let me tell you. When I went to put this piece of stitching that I worked on diligently 15 years ago down on my mat to cut it, I found out I wasn't quite as tough as I thought I was. I worked as a nurse for 25 years, and I worked in labor and delivery and the ER and ICU, and was a flight nurse for the last 5 years before I retired. And during that time, I spent 5 years in nursing management. And over all that time, I had more than one physician accuse me of having a set of big brass ones. Yep. And I like to think that I do. But I put down that whatever linen crap this is, burlappy stuff, on the cutting board and got this out. And all of a sudden, my pucker facker was much higher than I recall it being in quite a while. I didn't want to cut into that stitching, and I didn't want to do it. But I did. I trimmed it down, and I survived it. But yeah, I am not as tough as I think I am when it comes to my stitching, because I was worried about it. Oh, that was one other thing I did notice. On this particular material, burlappy crap, whatever it is, I ended up on the two long seams along the sides here. I actually not only sewed a straight seam, but zigzagged it because it was starting to ravel fairly badly just from being handled while I was sewing it. So that's something you might want to keep in mind if you're finishing anything that's got a real loose weave to it like that, because I was starting to have little threads sticking out all over the place. And my friend Monica has 2 teenage boys, and I'm sure if this goes on her couch, it's going to be flopped on regularly during the Christmas season. And I thought it could use the reinforcement. So anyway, that was it. Zigzag the loose weaves crap. What else? There was another lesson. Oh, yeah. See that? That little blind seam right there? Doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look awesome. But let me tell you, I would rather work a week long of 12-hour shifts on a full moon in the county ER, which is also known as the 7th level of hell, than do that again. Apparently, I haven't sewn anything with a sharp needle in a long time, and that's a good thing for me, because I poked my finger a lot. I managed not to bleed on it, thank God. Although maybe we could have disguised it as Santa's robe. But I'm real glad that's done, and I plan to avoid blind seams anytime I possibly can in the future, because it sucked. Here's another little lesson. I did it because Vonna told us to. But that whole lofting the batting thing, oh my God, mind numbing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a big plastic tub to keep it in. And I'm just going to sit one evening watching TV and pre-loft it all, because I about lost my mind sitting here for 30 minutes pulling that stuff apart before I stuffed it in the pillow. But it's stuffed in the air. I think it's done well. It's stuffed all down to the corners. Got my little pokey thing out. Poked it all in. And I think it's about the right level of firmness for what I was looking for. So I think it came out pretty good. I'm real proud of myself. I've got one little fold here. I just could not get ironed out of the material. But, you know, in fairness, it's been folded up and put away for 15 years. So I'm not going to worry about it too bad. I'm just going to send it to my friend with love and hope she likes it. So that's another little short FlossTube from me, all about finishing my pillow. I'm planning, if that zipper foot arrives, to make a project bag. And I'm going to start trying to figure out how to do a flat fold. Cross your fingers for me on that. I may have to wait till tomorrow. I may need to recover from that blind seam a little bit more before I do it. That's all I have. I finished the pillow. I didn't get any actual stitching done. Oh, and I want you to see, I wore this shirt especially to finish this because it says mind over matter. And my mind has been between me and getting this thing done for 15 years. So I did it. Thank you, Vonna, for sharing your wonderful instructional tutorial with us. Because if I had not seen that, I'd have been paying somebody to do it, which would be difficult right now. And I'm real happy with the way it came out. So thank you for sharing your expertise with us. And if any of you guys are doubting that you can do it, don't, because if I can do it, you can do it. And you know why you can do it? You're special. You know how I know you're special? Because, hey, I put on a bra to do this for you guys today. And I don't put on a bra if I'm not leaving the house. So, see? You're special. I did it just for you. Yeah, for you. That's it, guys. I will see you soon, I hope. Love to you all. Bye.